What's up, everybody? Dylan from Redline here, bringing you yet another Audi video. Today we are going to be talking about the common problems and common faults on the 3.0T drivetrain. Now this pertains to the Q5, SQ5, S4, S5, and whatever other Audi vehicles come with this motor. This is a pretty common drivetrain in Audis, as it should be. It's a pretty stout platform overall, as I say in like all my videos. Like, this car is pretty dang reliable. But it does have its gremlins like every other vehicle, so let's hop into those. Quick little shameless plug. If you guys are anything car automotive related, be sure to subscribe. Drop me a comment, whatever. I post here on the channel 3 times a week. I do all kinds of car related stuff, mods, DIY, car reviews. Whole 9 yards, we're doing it. Be sure to check the channel out. Thanks. To start, the biggest issues, especially on the older models in terms of the S4 and S5, the B8 generation that is, would be the PCV, thermostat, and water pump. Now, it's pretty widely known in, well, at least in the S4 community, that these are big problems on the cars. And you typically replace all of them at the same time. They don't like all go wrong at the same time, but the supercharger is required to be removed for those to be replaced. I've heard people saying the water pump can be replaced without that, but it's easier to do it with the supercharger off, obviously. So you kind of just knock out all the birds with one stone and fix all 3 at once. Now, if your engine is surging at all or has a weird like whining noise, like a kind of noise, your PCV may be on its way out. Other signs of that are oil consumption, leaks, just anything like that. You may also get a check engine light from codes, so be sure to scan it. It's just a very common issue. It's not too expensive to replace or too difficult, but yeah. Now, in terms of the water pump and thermostat, they kind of work off of each other in the aspect that they try to keep your car running cool and stay around operating temp. So if you notice any loss of coolant from your reservoir, that's a good way to a telltale sign. Any leaks, obviously, your car's overheating, those are a good place to look and could definitely be a culprit. Now, like I said before, it's probably best to do all these at the same time, even if it's preventative maintenance. My car had them all done at the same time in a preventative measure, and I have not run into any issues. I don't have any oil consumption. Now, my B8 S4 that I had prior to this car, that thing drank oil like no other. Oh my God. And the PCV was on its way out. It started to whine a little bit. Like every probably 800 to 1,000 miles, I had to put a quart of oil in. It was getting very annoying, but that was just what I thought Audi ownership was at that time, but obviously it's not. So be sure to keep up on that. Going off of that, another problem that I've noticed on some of the older models, like mainly the B8s, is oil consumption. They just seem to drink and burn oil more so than the B8.5 cars. Like I said, my B8 would go through oil quite a bit, but I'm almost certain that was the PCV at fault. They're obviously older vehicles and have been on the road longer than the B8.5, so that could be another reason. And a lot of parts on the B8.5 were revised over the B8s. So like those common issues, they did have a revision, I believe. I forget what the exact year was, but yeah. Another issue that just about every single S4 has on the planet is the stupid little volume knob tweaking out. Now it'll kind of spaz out. Like when you turn the volume up, the volume will go backwards on the MMI. It gets annoying. I found a little finesse. If you kind of like hold it up and go really slow with it, it'll work fine. But this S4 did it, my old S4 did it, my friend's S4 does it. It's very annoying, and I'm pretty sure I read on Audi's and you have to replace that whole center like part in order to fix the issue, and I'm really just not trying to go over all that. I just use the steering wheel volume knob. A lot of people seem to run into misfire issues on their 3.0T cars. Now, this can be the result of a multiple of things, whether it be coil packs, plugs, injectors. I haven't really heard of the injectors going bad too much, but coil packs and spark plugs, I definitely would get swapped out, or at least check yours if you're having misfires. And start with that, because it's much more cost effective to replace coils and plugs than it is to do injectors. Specifically on the cars with the carbon inlays on the interior, these carbon inlays are prone to cracking. My B8 S4 had a cracked one. I don't even know what caused that. I didn't know if it was a change in weather conditions, because here in Ohio, it's pretty freaking bipolar. Like it'll be 90 degrees one day and 30 degrees the next. But yeah, those crack and are prone to crack. People part them out all the time, so they're easy to find. They are kind of expensive, but that's just a cosmetic thing that goes bad. Now, the back seats on these S4s are like always mint, because I don't know if it's just people don't sit back there or what. But the front seats always seem to have this issue. Usually on cars like upwards of 90,000 miles, they start to get this happening with the seats. I don't really know how to prevent that, but I do try to keep mine conditioned all the time. But I've noticed where the leather kind of picks up right there. Very common issue. Quite possibly the biggest issue of all, especially on the B8 S4s, would be the DSG transmission. Now, I don't believe the Q series cars came with the DSG. I think they have a ZF transmission, but the DSG is, I'm not going to say very prone to failure, but I've heard of many cases on the B8 platform, not the B8.5 as much, but the B8, where the mech unit goes bad in the transmission. Now, the Mechatronics unit is essentially the brain of the DSG transmission in these cars, and when not maintained, or if it's beat on a bunch with no maintenance, it can be pretty bad. Now, I've seen repair bills upwards of $5,000 for this issue. Many times people just opt for a used transmission or go for a second-gen transmission to swap into their car. Now, the late model 2013s, I'm speaking about the S4s in particular, the late model 2013 cars had a revised DSG. This is known as the Gen 2. Thankfully, this car has it. It was made in like December 2013, so I got the revised trans. That is one thing I did make sure to get when purchasing this S4. In my B8, I wasn't too aware of the DSG issues. I knew they existed, but that car was pretty well maintained and shifted fine. But yeah, be on the lookout. If a car's been launched a million times and hasn't had any DSG services and shifts a little rough, just be aware of that, because it gets real costly real fast. All right, everybody, on to the next issue. Now, since this is a direct injection motor, it falls victim to carbon buildup. Now, when your car is suffering from carbon buildup, there's a bunch of flaws that you'll start to notice, whether it be worse fuel economy, even misfires can occur, suck coming out of the exhaust, just a bunch of bad things that you don't want to happen. I've seen cars with like 70,000 miles. Like the ports are all clogged up. They're absolutely disgusting and filthy. So maybe everyone's car would benefit from a little bit of a carbon cleaning. I've yet to do this on my car personally. I've heard many great things about it, even power gains. I'm going to probably do this here in a few thousand miles, so look forward to that. I'll let you guys know if I notice any difference or anything. But yeah, it's just a good preventative thing to do, so issues can be prevented. All right, I almost forgot to mention the catalytic converters on these cars absolutely suck. Sorry when I say this, EPA, but these cats even fail in factory form. You could have a bone stock car and them suckers will melt and blow your motor up or shoot out of the exhaust, one of the two. They'll shoot out of the exhaust if you're lucky. I've seen many cases where they clog up and motor goes boom. Now, if you have a clogged cat or they're on their way out, you'll start to notice little shavings possibly in your exhaust tips, which is just cat material. Maybe even misfires. I've heard of cars bogging down, acting like they're not getting any fuel. This is just because there's so much back pressure, the car can't flow and it's not moving. So be aware of that, even if you want to remain stock. Now, if you're modding your S4, I would definitely go test pipes or at least high flow cats and then route them down the stream a little bit more. Another big issue on these cars that absolutely kills performance is high intake air temperatures. Now, I see all these people tuning their cars going dual pulley, single pulley, whatever, and they don't even mess with their cooling mods. And then they're crying about why their car's still slow. Well, I hate to break it to you, when you're building more boost and the supercharger is spinning faster, you're also creating more heat. Now, everyone who's in the cars knows that heat is the enemy of making power, so you want to keep your car cool. Basic upgrades like your heat exchanger, your coolant pump, even doing a quick flush to get rid of any air pockets in the system. All common issues on this car, and intake temps that are through the roof absolutely flaw this platform, and people just don't even do anything about it. So if you're a dual pulley S4 and you're running high 12s, you probably are falling victim to high intake air temperatures. Easy fixes to this. Heat exchanger. Another one, I upgraded to a CWA 100-3 coolant pump. Gets more coolant in the system, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people divorce the cooling system. I have the AMS Alpha heat exchanger. Comes with an extra reservoir, so I have about an extra gallon of coolant flowing through my system at all times. Helps with the heat dissipation. And the easiest way to do it all is to make sure you don't have any air pockets in your coolant system. These cars are notorious for that. So check all these. If you have high intake temps, Be sure to fix that. I promise you, your car will be 100 times faster. And especially on the top end, you will notice a big difference. It seems like most tunes on this platform start to pull timing around 70 degrees Celsius in regards to the intake air temp. So as long as you're under that, your car's probably not pulling timing and it's ripping. All right, the last issue that I've seen on these cars is kind of a rare one. I haven't really seen it happen too often, but it is out there. Is cylinder 5 leaving the chat? Now, what do I mean by that? It's just about every single S4 owner's biggest fear because they see it in the forum. But cylinder 5, either the walls get all messed up, the piston melts, cracks, whatever, rot out of the side of the block. There's just so many things that can occur with this issue. Not really too sure what causes it. Obviously, heat's a big one. Say someone's got a blown head gasket and they don't fix it. Just, there's a bunch of things that can go wrong. Now, I'm not 110% sure what causes this, but my best guess would be heat and heat soaking and constant abuse of the vehicle. Now, it's not one of them things that you can really just predict, but you can help prevent it. Obviously, any motor in any car can blow up. You could have the most reliable Camry in the world, and it still has the ability to blow up. And that's just a thing that can happen with any car. And I don't really know how I feel about including it in this, but it has happened, and it's always on cylinder 5, so I've noticed that. But that's just another issue I've seen in the forums and on Audi's even stuff. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I hope this helped. If you're in the market for a 3.0T vehicle and you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. Like I said, this is my second S4. I had a B8 prior to this. That B8 had 150,000 miles. It was also a DSG car and didn't have no issues with that other than the oil. This car is a 2013 B8.5 DSG as well. And I absolutely love it. I love this platform. It's extremely reliable for what it is. And it's a hard bang for your buck to even beat. Now, if you're in anything car automotive related, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I post here on the channel 3 times a week. I do everything car related, automotive related. This is my 2013 Audi S4, like I said before. I have an 87 Turbo Mustang, and yeah, I'm just excited to grow. I want to thank you guys again for watching the video, and I'm out. Thanks.